Are you so confused about this new registration rule that if you're in the United States for more than 30 days, you have to register? And are you even more confused if you're a permanent resident or a US visa holder? Well, in this video, I'm gonna take you through exactly who has to register, how to register, what happens when you don't register, and what is going on. Let me take you through it step by step. Hi, my name is Andrea Shev, if you don't know me already, and I put together this YouTube channel to give you clear, concise, and easy to understand information about all different topics related to US immigration. I've been doing immigration law for over 20 years, so I got your back. And in this video, we are going to talk about why the registration is actually happening, this new registration policy that's coming out, who actually must register, how to actually register, and who is already registered. Like, are you registered or not? And do you even know if you're registered? And what happens if you don't register? And how do you prove that you've already registered? I'm gonna go through all of it with you. It is so confusing. People are really scared. I've been getting tons of calls about, do I register? How do I register? I'm a permanent resident. Do I have to register? How about if I'm coming in on an H-1B or an O visa or a P visa or an L visa? Do I have to register? What if I'm a visitor? Do I have to register? Well, I'm gonna go through all of that and clear everything up for you. So once and for all, you'll know, do I have to register? Am I already registered? And how do I register if I'm not? So why is this happening? So why did President Trump push for this change in the first place? Well, the idea was to tighten up the system and make sure the government had an accurate record of who's living in the US if they're not a US citizen. A lot of people have come here, especially years ago, never had to register or get fingerprinted the way we do now. So this is the administrator's way of saying, let's fix that. It's not about creating something new. It's actually about enforcing rules that have already been in the books for decades, but weren't really being used. The Trump administration wanted to modernize the process, make it digital, and make sure everyone who's supposed to register actually does. On another note though, because we are all aware of what is really going on, this registration system was put into place also to bring individuals who are undocumented and enter the US without inspection to come forward and register. There are many people in the US that the government doesn't even know are even here, and the only way to do this was to force them to come out into the open. This is a very controversial and uncomfortable for many individuals who are now forced and making a choice to abide by this registration requirement or risk deportation. It's a really complicated issue. Okay, who must register? With limited exceptions, all non-citizens aged 14 or older who were not registered and fingerprinted when applying for a US visa and who remain in the United States for 30 days or longer must apply for registration and fingerprinting. Additionally, parents or legal guardians are responsible for registering children under 14, but know that once that child turns 14, they must re-register within 30 days. All right, how do you register and what is the process? First step is create a USCIS online account. You visit USCIS website and set up your personal account. If you're registering a child under 14, you'll need to set up an account for them separately. You can't do it under your account. Second, you complete the G-325R online. Log into your USCIS account and fill out the form G-325R. This form must be submitted electronically. They will not accept a paper form. 3, you want to await USCIS review. After submission, USCIS will review your information, and if further action is needed, they will let you know, and they will send you a notification for fingerprinting. Next, you'll attend your biometrics appointment. USCIS will schedule for you your fingerprinting appointment, and you'll go to that appointment and you'll have your fingerprints taken. And lastly, you'll get proof of registration. Once all the requirements are met, USCIS will issue you evidence of registration. And that's it. So those are the steps that you need to take. Those 5 steps will get you registered if you're not already registered already. So that takes me to the next point of who is already registered. That is the most confusing and complicated issue out there for a lot of people because they're just confused about, am I registered already? And if I'm not registered, how do I register? Well, we know now how to register. Let's go through who is actually already registered and are sitting out there watching this video wondering, do I have to do the G-325R or not? Here we go. All right, first and foremost, lawful permanent residents are already registered. If you are a lawful permanent resident and you're holding a permanent resident card or a conditional permanent resident card, you are already registered. You don't have to do anything. The next group is someone lawfully in the U.S. for fewer than 30 days. If you're in the U.S. for less than 30 days, you don't have to register. The rule is that if you're going to be in the United States for more than 30 days, you have to register. Next, admitted to the U.S. and issued a I-94, even if it's expired. Did you hear me? Even if it's expired. If you enter the United States on any type of visa, you were issued an I-94. Now they only do them digitally. In the old days, they used to do them on little white pieces of paper. So if you enter the U.S. legally through an airport or a border post and you talk to an actual officer, most likely you were issued an I-94. If you don't know if you have an I-94, I'm going to put a link below this video of a video you can watch that shows you how to find your I-94. Super, super important that you find it online and you print it out. If you entered the U.S. years and years and years and years ago and you were issued a paper I-94, that's fine too. You can carry with you that paper I-94. Now the key here is, and for you to hear me, is that even if it's expired, like you should have left 10 years ago, you are still registered because when you enter the country, you were issued an I-94. I need to repeat that because it's very confusing for a lot of people. If you enter the country and you were issued I-94 and that I-94 is expired, it is still proof of registration and you do not have to do anything else. Just make sure that you have a copy of the I-94. Next group is those who have already completed registration and fingerprinting as part of some other immigration process. So if you've done anything in the US related to USCIS and you had your fingerprints taken, more likely than not, you are already registered. You don't have to register and fill out that form. You have already been registered. People that were issued work authorization cards. If you're out there and you were issued a work authorization card, then you are registered. Because in order to get that work authorization card, you know what you had to do? You had to get your fingerprints taken. So because you got your fingerprints taken, you were issued the work authorization card and you are already registered. Individuals out there that have applied for adjustment of status. If you applied for adjustment of status, most likely you had your fingerprints taken, so you do not need to register. You are already registered. Even if your adjustment status application was denied, you are still registered if you have filed and provided fingerprints with an adjustment of status application. The adjustment of status, if you don't know what it is, unlikely you filed for adjustment of status. But it's Form 485 and a lot of other forms you file with that. But most likely, if you filed your adjustment of status application, you are already fingerprinted and therefore you're already registered. If you have a border crossing card, you're already registered. So you don't have to worry about it. If you have a border crossing card, you're good to go. You've already been registered. If you're in removal proceedings, you're already registered. Your fingerprints have probably already been taken and you're already into the system. If you applied and received a visa prior to your last entry into the US, you're already registered because as you all know that have visas out there, they take your fingerprints at the consulate before they issue your visa. So if you have a visa that was issued prior to your last entry into the US, likely you entered with that visa too, then you're already registered. Okay? All those people I just mentioned, those people are already registered. You do not have to do any forms or anything. If you still don't know or want to confirm if you must file with USCIS and register, then there is a tool called Registration Requirement Determination Tool that's in the USCIS website, which I'll put a link below this video. You can go through that tool and you can mark yes and no in the questions, and it will lead you to the conclusion of if you have to register or not. So that's another avenue for you if you're confused and you really want to still figure out if you have to register or not. So what happens if you don't register? Well, you will be guilty of a misdemeanor and will, upon conviction, be fined not to exceed $5,000 or be imprisoned not more than 6 months or both. So there is a consequence if they stop you for some reason and they ask you for proof of registration and you don't have it, there will be a charge of a misdemeanor and there will be a punishment attached to that. However, the big question I get on the phone all the time, or when I talk to my clients, or when I talk to people that call the office is, well, how in the world are they going to find out that I'm not registered? Like, how are they going to find out? Are they going to like go around the streets or get on buses and ask for proof of registration? Well, I don't think they're going to be doing that because we do not have the manpower in this country to start going around and stopping everyone on the street and asking them if they have proof of registration. A lot of times the proof of registration might be asked for if you're stopped for a traffic violation or you're in some kind of strange situation where ICE or Customs Enforcement is doing some kind of investigation or raid or something, and then they ask you to see proof of registration. Other avenues or other ways or places that they might ask for proof of registration, we're not really sure where they're going to do that. But again, I know from a practical standpoint, we don't have the manpower in this country to start asking everybody for proof of registration. And then how do you decide who you ask and who you don't ask, which can cause a lot of confusion and a lot of profiling out there that we don't really want to happen. So we have to be very careful and see how this is going to all play out in the real world and not just on paper of how you're supposed to do it and when you're supposed to do it and who is supposed to do it. So we have to still see how it's all going to flush out over the next months and years. So this takes me to another issue of how do I prove that I am registered if someone does ask me, if I do find myself in a situation? Well, you make sure that you always carry your permanent resident card, which most of you already do probably if you are a permanent resident. You carry your I-94, which again, the link to how to find your I-94 if you don't know how to is below this video. You actually carry your passport most likely, more likely than not, you should be carrying your passport with your visa in it. If you have any receipts from USCIS filings that you've done, carry that. Your work authorization card, carry that. And anything else that will document that you have fallen under one of those categories that I said earlier. If you filed an actual G-325R, then you're going to have proof of that filing with you too. So just carry the documents that are going to show that you are registered. Now, with all that being said, I would tell my clients years ago to always carry with them their I-94, their visa, and their permanent resident card. You should always be carrying those documents because those are your proof of actual legal status in the United States. So if anyone asks or there's any issue or there's a work-related problem, you have proof that you are legally in the United States and what status you're in. So always carry those documents with you anyway. Okay? So that is the clarification. I know it is confusing, and I will tell you, as clear as I'm trying to make it in this video, it is an evolving type of policy. How are they going to actually carry it out? Still up for debate. We're not really sure, like I said. We don't have the manpower to go around asking everyone for proof of registration. So what places are they going to actually try to enforce and try to find people that are unregistered? We don't know that yet. Also, the categories of people that are registered, there's a little bit of fuzziness in there. It's not 100% clear of who's registered and who's not. What I have told you is exactly what USCIS has explained and what is actually in the policy. It's not something that I'm making up or I'm grabbing from somewhere. It's actually in USCIS's website. So that is the information that we have today, but it will evolve and it will get clarified as time goes by. I'll update this video if I need to, if there's more information that comes out. But for now, for all my permanent residents out there and for my US visa holders out there, you are already registered. Don't worry, don't freak out, take a deep breath. You are fine. You've been registered for years if you've been coming as a permanent resident. Doesn't matter. We're just trying to make sure that everybody is in the system. That's what the whole point of this registration is. And make sure that you have your I-94 with you at all times and your permanent resident card so you have proof of legal status and also that you have already registered. I hope all this was helpful. I hope it clarified the whole issue of who has to register, how you register, why we're registering, and so on and so forth. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. Please let me know in the comments below any experiences you're having with registration because, you know, we all go through life, we're all out on the streets, we're all doing different things, and everyone is experiencing this in different ways. So please share with us experiences that you've had in the comments below so we can make sure that we're aware of what's going on outside of our homes, of our lives. And I wish you all the luck out there. Please don't get scared. Don't be nervous about this. If you're a permanent resident or you're a visa holder, you are fine. You are fine as long as you have your permanent resident card or your I-94 with you at all times. Okay? Thank you so much for joining me. I hope all of you have a great morning, afternoon, night, wherever you're in the world. Please subscribe, comment, like. Love to hear from all of you, and I'll see you all in my next video.